Good morning. Today's topic is, can you max out both a solo 401k and a SEP IRA? So here's a question that I get all the time. Can I really max out both a solo 401k and a SEP IRA in the same year? By the end of this session, you'll know whether having both accounts is worth it, or if you are better off focusing on one. As always, go ahead and type over your questions during today's daily webinar. We'll go over those questions as they come in. They can be surrounding any question related to solo 401k plans, self-directed IRAs, rollover business startup 401k, and even traditional 401ks. And we'll pause and answer those questions as they come in. Please also like today's webinar and to help get the word out to other solopreneurs like yourself. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you receive notifications when we go live. We typically go live once a day, oftentimes twice a day. Also, visit our community where we have over 30,000 members hosting forums on a daily basis. We also have a lot of professionals on that community that post guest blog posts so that they can show their knowledge, and you can even link back to your company website so that our 30,000 plus members can visit your website to learn more about your services. So whether you're a financial advisor, CPA, insurance agent, attorney, tax professional, or for that matter, any type of professional, you can post guest blog posts on our community, link it back to your website to get some eyeballs on your services. Also, take a look at our YouTube channel where we have over 900 videos. So it's a very large video catalog. I think we're approaching 950 videos relating to retirement accounts. Also, visit our artificial intelligence site, which is www.solo401k.ai. So again, go ahead and shoot over any questions you have during today's daily webinar. We'll go ahead and pause and answer those questions as they come in. So again, today's topic is, can you max out both a solo 401k and a SEP IRA? And this question comes up all the time. So again, the big question is, can you really max out both a solo 401k and a SEP IRA in the same year? So the answer is going to be, it depends on whether you are the owner of both self-employed businesses versus being the owner of one self-employed business and then also participating in a SEP IRA provided by your full-time employer, for example, your full-time W-2 employer. So here's what we're going to cover: IRS rules for a solo 401k versus a SEP IRA. So for a solo 401k plan, it's for owner-only businesses with no full-time W-2 employees who work 1,000 hours or more and any business under your control. Of course, if your spouse also works for the business, that's okay because of the spousal exception, since a solo 401k plan is for both spouses as long as they both work in the same business. A SEP IRA is typically for the self-employed as well. However, it can also be offered by small businesses or even big businesses that employ full-time W-2 employees. So one of the differences between a solo 401k and a SEP IRA is that the solo 401k is for owner-only, employees only, who don't employ any full-time W-2 employees in their business, whereas a SEP IRA, even though it's oftentimes used by owner-only businesses, it can also be utilized by small businesses and even big businesses that employ common law full-time W-2 employees who work 1,000 hours or more. So regarding why the contribution limits often overlap, before we get to that, let's first understand the contribution rules for a solo 401k versus a SEP IRA. So a solo 401k allows for both employee contributions as well as employer profit sharing contributions, whereas a SEP IRA solely allows for employer profit sharing contributions. So that's one of the big differences between the two from a contribution perspective. That is, a SEP IRA only allows for employer profit sharing contributions, whereas a solo 401k plan allows for both employee and employer contributions. Another difference from a contribution perspective is that the solo 401k plan allows for voluntary after-tax solo 401k contributions as part of the mega backdoor Roth strategy, whereas the SEP IRA does not allow for voluntary after-tax contributions, and therefore the mega backdoor Roth strategy is not available to a SEP IRA. Now, as far as why contribution limits often overlap, that deals with an individual who's self-employed. So you have an owner-only business where it's just you and maybe your spouse, and the business does not employ any full-time W-2 employees who work 1,000 hours or more. Therefore, you can open a solo 401k plan, and you can make employee and employer contributions to the solo 401k. Well, in some cases, where I see it overlap is the individual may already have a SEP IRA for their self-employed business, but now they want to open a solo 401k plan. So they may have already made an employer contribution to the SEP IRA in the year that they opened the solo 401k. So now when they open the solo 401k plan, they check to see if they've already maximized their employer contribution to the SEP IRA. If they haven't, then they'll go ahead and finish making the total allowed employer contribution to that SEP IRA for the year, or they'll just make the remaining amount of employer contributions to the solo 401k, and then they'll make employee contributions as well to the solo 401k plan. And or they may also utilize the solo 401k for the mega backdoor Roth solo 401k strategy. So that's what we see typically in the first year. But then the following year, what we find is that clients, once they've opened up a solo 401k, so they've transitioned to the solo 401k, they will go ahead and transfer the SEP IRA to the solo 401k to consolidate their retirement accounts under that solo 401k plan, and therefore they close their SEP IRA because, again, with the solo 401k plan, it already allows for employer contributions, just like a SEP IRA. So there's no need to have both from a contribution perspective. Because, again, the solo 401k plan, to put it a different way, it's one-stop shop from a contribution perspective, and that you can make employer contributions as well as employee contributions and even voluntary after-tax solo 401k contributions for those that want to utilize the mega backdoor Roth strategy. Now, let's say that you want to contribute to both. Under one scenario, there's a way where you can contribute to both, where you can maximize your contributions to the solo 401k on the employer side, as well as the voluntary after-tax solo 401k contribution. That's if you also work for another employer. So we're not talking about your self-employed business, but another employer. Let's say that in addition to having your own self-employed business, you also work for another business where you are not the owner, and that other business offers a SEP IRA, and you're a W-2 employer of that business, and that business does not do business with your existing solo 401k business that sponsors that solo 401k plan. Under that circumstance, you would be able to maximize your SEP IRA contribution to that employer's SEP IRA, and then the solo 401k plan. You could also make employer profit sharing contributions as well, because employer profit sharing contributions are never aggregated when we're talking about a self-employed business and a full-time employer business. It's only employee contributions that are aggregated. Well, that's a moot point because a SEP IRA does not allow for employer contributions. So that would allow you to max out that employer SEP IRA with your full-time employer, and then you can turn around and also maximize your employer contributions to your solo 401k plan for your self-employed business. And you can also make employee contributions and voluntary after-tax solo 401k contributions. So you notice that I didn't say that you could make both SEP IRA contributions as well as solo 401k contributions for your own self-employed business. So a scenario where you're self-employed and it's only you and you don't have any full-time employees in your business, and therefore you open a solo 401k plan, and you want to also contribute to a SEP IRA, that's allowed as well. However, because you're the owner of that business, you're not going to be able to double up on employer contributions. Therefore, if you make an employer profit sharing contribution to your SEP IRA up to the overall limit, you're not going to be able to make a profit sharing contribution to the solo 401k because those are aggregated. So so employer contributions are aggregated for SEP IRAs and solo 401k plans when they're both set up for your own self-employed business. With respect to when keeping both might make sense, I can only think of one instance, and that is if you are nervous about having to file an annual Form 5500 easy informational return with the government. For some reason, individuals that are self-employed get nervous when they have to file an annual informational return for a solo 401k known as a Form 5500 easy. That Form 5500 easy does not apply to SEP IRAs. It does apply to solo 401k plans once the market value of that solo 401k plan is greater than $250,000 as of the end of the plan year. So those individuals that are nervous about having to file that Form 5500 easy will open up a SEP IRA for their self-employed business as well. So now they'll have both a solo 401k and a SEP IRA. And then they will transfer some of their solo 401k funds, pre-tax solo 401k funds, to that SEP IRA, because the SEP IRA is not subject to Form 5500 easy reporting, nor does the SEP IRA balance impact your Form 5500 easy filing requirement for the solo 401k plan. For example, let's say the value of your solo 401k plan is $225,000, and then you have a SEP IRA for that same self-employed business that has a value of $50,000. You combine those two amounts, that equals a total of $275,000 between the solo 401k and the SEP IRA. Well, because the Form 5500 easy does not apply to the SEP IRA, that filing requirement would only apply to the solo 401k if the value of that plan was over $250,000 dollars or market value. Well, in this example, it only has 225,000 market value. Therefore, you will not have to file a Form 5500 easy for that solo 401k, even though you also have a SEP IRA that has a value of $50,000. Now, a SEP IRA is subject to Form 5498 reporting, just like traditional IRAs, but it's not subject to Form 5500 easy reporting. One caveat to understand here is that if you're trying to not have to file that Form 5500 easy by also opening a SEP IRA, keep in mind that in order to transfer funds out of the solo 401k plan, you have to meet a triggering event. Specifically, if you're transferring out pre-tax solo 401k funds out of that solo 401k, you can only do so if you're age 59 and a half, or if you're no longer self-employed, which of course, if you're no longer self-employed, you're gonna have to close the plan down. So that's a moot point. You can also transfer funds out of the solo 401k plan that were previously transferred to the solo 401k plan from a former employer 401k, 403b, thrift savings plan, 457 governmental plan, traditional IRAs, simple IRAs, SEP IRAs. Those you can be under age 59 and a half, and those can be transferred out at any time to a SEP IRA or a traditional IRA. So that's when keeping both might make sense. And that's really the only time I can think of. It's really has to do with the Form 5500 easy filing requirement. Now, the last thing I want to say on the Form 5500 easy filing requirement is that here at my Solo 401k Financial, that's a service that we provide at no additional charge to our clients, provided that they timely request that service from us. Keep in mind, here at my Solo 401k Financial, one of the reasons we're such a popular Solo 401k plan provider is because we let you choose where to hold the funds at. And many of our clients like that feature, including advisors who utilize our services for their institutional clients, because at the end of the day, the way we look at it is that these are your retirement funds, so you should be able to choose where to hold the money at. So the funds can be held at a brokerage firm like Fidelity, Schwab, even a bank, or even the broker that even the broker dealer that your financial advisor clears through. And we don't have access to your funds, and that's by design, because we don't need to have access to your funds to help you with your solo 401k plan. So you need to make sure you let us know when you need to file that Form 5500 easy, and then we'll prepare it and even file it electronically for you at no additional charge, as long as you timely request it. Okay, so let's look at this bullet point here, smarter alternatives to maximize contributions. Well, we already talked about that with regards to being able to contribute to a SEP IRA sponsored by your full-time employer business, the one you don't work for, and then also having a solo 401k plan for your owner-only self-employed business. All right, again, please subscribe to our channel, our YouTube channel, so that you receive notifications when we go live. Please also like today's video to help get the knowledge out to other solopreneurs. Please also visit our community. You can join, it's free to join, where we have over 30,000 members that are constantly posting forum posts. Also visit our artificial intelligence website, which is www.solo401k.ai. And we're about to take a look at some questions here. But before we do that, so why does it matter to make sure you understand the rules if you're trying to contribute to both a SEP IRA and a solo 401k for your self-employed business? Well, because of the over-contribution rules. If you over-contribute to your SEP IRA or your solo 401k for that matter, you may have to pay excess penalties to the IRS. And you typically have to remove those excess contributions depending on the type of contribution that you made to the solo 401k plan, so employee versus employer, and also the amount that you contributed. So a better alternative, if you have a self-employed business and you're trying to max out contributions, you can max out your contributions to the solo 401k plan, and you can also open up a Roth IRA and make contributions to the Roth IRA, because contributions to a Roth IRA are not impacted by contributions that you make to a solo 401k plan. However, make sure that your modified adjusted gross income is not over a certain limit, because your modified adjusted gross income does impact not only your Roth your Roth IRA contributions, but also your traditional IRA contributions. Okay, so let's take a look at some questions here. It says here, you mentioned that you have over 900 videos. Is it on YouTube channel or website, or are these videos searchable by topic? Great question. They are on our YouTube channel. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you're going to actually, we have close to 950 videos now here on our YouTube channel. There's the address to our YouTube channel right there. And again, we have videos on all types of topics. We've been at this for over 15 years. So we've been able to create a really good video catalog. We also have over 16,000 members on our YouTube channel. So again, please subscribe to our channel and you'll receive notifications when we go live. All right, let's see here. What other questions we have? We got a question here. If you are transferring a 401k from a previous employer to a solo 401k, that is considered an in-kind transfer, so it should not count against the annual limit. The annual limit is for new contributions. You're exactly right. And the reason why it does not count towards the annual contribution limit, which is $70,000 for tax year 2025, for example, is because the annual contribution limit only applies to contributions that you make based on your earned income from self-employment activity. When you transfer IRAs or former employer plans, that's not based on your earned income from self-employment activity. So you can transfer an unlimited amount of former employer plans and IRAs, such as SEP IRAs, simple IRAs, and traditional IRAs, to the solo 401k, and that's not going to impact the annual contribution limit. So good comment. Okay, let's see. Looks like we got another question here. And go ahead and type over your questions as we're almost done with today's daily webinar. And again, please subscribe to our channel so that you receive notifications when we go live. So we've got a question here. I just transferred my 401k Roth and pre-tax account from a previous employer to a Schwab Roth and pre-tax solo 401k. So I manage the investments directly, including rental properties owned by my solo 401k. Sounds good. Thanks for that comment. Yeah, many of our clients utilize Fidelity and Schwab for the self-directed solo 401k that we offer. All right. Well, again, thank you for joining today's daily webinar. Until next time, have a great rest of the day.